this signed up.
We now have a corrupt campaign finance system that allows billionaires to buy elections and to influence major pieces of legislation. That, I think, is not a secret to the American people. If you are a Republican and you vote against the Trump-Musk administration in one way or another, you've got to look over your shoulder and worry that you're going to get a call from Elon Musk, the wealthiest man in the world, and he will tell you that if you vote against what he wants, he will spend unlimited amounts of money to defeat you in the next election. That's not a great secret. That's what Musk has been saying publicly. If you are a Democrat, you have to worry about the billionaires who fund AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. If you vote against Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his horrific war in Gaza, AIPAC will punish you with millions of dollars in advertisements and in other ways to see that you are defeated. AIPAC's PAC and Super PAC spent nearly $127 million combined during the 2023-2024 election cycle, according to the Federal Election Commission. And
all right, burn. Feel the burn. Feel the burn. Red pepper. It's not working. I was trying to show your quote. Everything is, it's just designed that way. I'm going to try to find that book, and I'm going to try to find that book and read a bit to you. There it goes. I don't know why everything's so slow. So good morning. Let's see. I have to go to a funeral at lunchtime, so I don't have much time here. So I figured I'll have my cuppa with you, and we'll watch the show a little bit this morning. GBUX is 774, 752 to 774. 9,000 shares. So that's got some volume out of the gate. And it's up 11% almost today. So GBUX, I think, bears watching. Would I buy GBUX now? I mean, if you don't have it, buy a little bit maybe, but recognize that it's way up. I mean, it's since Ham first started talking about GBUX, it's a 10x. Believe it or not, it's a 10x. But I think it can 10x from here too, if we get lucky. If we get lucky. Highly speculative. Finger is down a bit, but it's still in that choppiness. Once, just in round numbers, guys like Lion and Arca and Avid Trader, they can give you exacts. But right around a 140, that was resistance, and now it's support, and it's a fight. So my opinion, finger motion is going to get to $2 or $3. So it's a good time to be adding to positions and not despair. There's good things, I think, coming for finger. If I had to guess, one reason, if you want a macro reason, not a criminal short selling reason why the stock is under pressure, China's responding to the Trump tariffs. I think you cannot trust what you're reading in the media or in the media's news. They want you to think that Trump's a loony bin. And remember, it was Bill Clinton, it was the Democrats who I was listening, I think it was Gerald Celente said this. China's population, 10% went to college. Now 70% do, which is great. But it was Bill Clinton who let China into the World Trade Organization. Bill Clinton that approved NAFTA. Bill Clinton who got the transfer of our technology and our patents underway. Reagan couldn't get it done. Bill Clinton was the best Republican president the Republicans ever had. It's Bill Clinton. And now China's our competitor. Well, I think we should get along with China, but that's not the way it's heading right now. And so the tariffs, I think, are about bringing jobs and manufacturing. China took our patents, our ideas, our education. They work hard. I'm not, we gave it to them. Bill Clinton gave it to them. They built out state-of-the-art factories, robotics. They build and sell 50% of the world's automobiles now. And I think Trump recognizes that an economy built on Larry Black and Steve Fink and Cohen just centralizing financial assets, turning everything into a ping pong ball to hit back and forth between the long and the shorts and do it with leverage. I think Trump recognizes that's not the future of wealth creation. That's just turning America from a merit society into a third world nation where a handful of lucky people go to the best schools, they get to meet each other, they hobnob, they're international, and the rest of us are trapped. And by the way, we are going to be trapped. It looks like Europe is intent on war with Russia. This is insanity. This is complete insanity until you remember that we're part of NATO. So if they start a war with Russia, these are the feminists, the Marxists, the New World Order, the Klaus, whatever his name is, the EU, the Democrats, the Uniparty, the deep state. If they start a war with Russia, Trump has no choice but to join in because we're part of NATO. As soon as we go to war, there'll be control on your capital. There'll be control on what you can do. This is not Y2K. This is not duck and hide. This is real. This is what's coming. And I think Trump has to leave NATO. I think he has to leave NATO. And if he leaves NATO, they can have their war. They can have it. We need to be, I don't know if we have to be bosom buddies, but we have to have a working relationship with Russia, a working relationship with China, with India, with Brazil. And I'm sure there's other pockets of the world that I don't know how to describe. But we got to be adults. We're no longer uh, uh, Bam Bam. We're no longer Bam Bam with our big stick. It's just not what we are anymore. The world has changed. And you know, frankly, largely because of the United States, the world had 80 years of peace relatively, except if we decided to bomb the hell out of you, as long as you're brown. I don't know that we've ever bombed a country of white people since World War II. Anyway, G-Bucks is up on, I don't know if this quote changed. It hasn't really changed, but it looks like Finger is down a tiny bit. Some of the gold stocks are down, believe it or not. So I'm guessing that there's too many things to figure out, but I'm going to guess the market's down. Yeah, the market's down another 1,000 points. The Dow is 39.4, Nasdaq's down 500, S&P down 7. So to me, this is a great time to buy gold and silver, buy the miners, maybe go to cash. I don't know how to trade the indices. I don't know how to. I used to trade the XMI, but if I had money to gamble with, I'd buy calls on the indices. And the one guy I follow, I didn't write it down, darn it. Oh, I wrote it down over here. He is still calling for the S&P to get to 7,500. I think that's the number I gave too. And I'm not saying that these are my original thoughts, but I think I stuck at that level. I might have said 8,000 to you. Dow, he thinks the Dow is going to go to 55,000. I think it could go to 60. It could go above 60. NASDAQ 25,000. I think that could go higher than 25,000, could go to 30. And he has the Russell at 3,300. I think that can go to 4,000. Anyway, I think the markets will turn around. I think the Fed will step in. I can't believe Trump's going to allow us to get into World War III. So I think this is a time where people are listening to the news headlines. There's a lot of selling going on. I think it's a rotation out of the MAGA 7 stocks, which frankly were already going down before all of this, because they have 70. I forget. Apple's PE was something like 70 times or 60 times, and their revenue was growing by 2%. I mean, they got overpriced. But I think they could all rally back. I think the technology stocks will rally back. I'm telling you, if this happens, I might be wrong, but if this happens where we get a blow off, hockey stick move for the end, the cataclysmic end of a 45-year bull market, everything's going up. Everything's going to go up, even silver. All right, Brian. Sorry for my loss. Yeah, thank you. He was a colleague that I worked at for a long time at what's now Morgan Stanley. But he had a good life, but I appreciate it. It does sober you for our own lives, you know. Hey, Benjamin, I don't know why it's so slow. They've changed how to do this. All right. Hey, Zizu. I think what they're doing, they've changed this so that I have to double click it. So it gives me time. I don't know. Sorry, it's changed. A lot of clutter, a lot of chatter on whispering of short squeeze. Well, let's look at NWBO. I don't think there'll be a short squeeze in NWBO. Damn. 19.5. I don't, you know, I wouldn't rush to put money in Northwest Bio right now, but I acknowledge that at some point it could start to move. I think the approval process, if it finally gets done, if you actually believe that's separate from the criminals, which I don't, we have a completely corrupted government regulatory process, and it's all for a handful of men at the top. Cohen, Black, Fink, Griffin, whoever the woman is that runs Fidelity, you know, Goldman Sachs, whoever runs that, Diamond. This is the theft that's going on. They have the power of the printing press of the entire U.S. government, and they control the markets. They control everything. They control the media, the food you eat, and the people that fight against it are anti-Semitic, to put it in a word. He crashed. No, Dennis, you're being, I mean, if you want to read the headlines and react emotionally to investing, you can. But Trump didn't crash the markets. It gave an excuse to people. Look, I voted for Trump, but I'm horrified by the killing of civilians in Yemen and in Gaza Strip, in Lebanon, in Syria, by Donald Trump. I thought he was going to be different than Biden and Obama, but he's not. He's controlled by the Israelis, or we control the Israelis. Either way, this is the neocon agenda. And so I'm it's not that I blindly support everything he does. Now, he may have a strategy. He may, that, you know, because he does think ahead, and more often than wrong, more often than not, he's been proven right. But no, Trump didn't crash the markets. That's silly investing. And if you want to lose your money, trade on the headlines. Number one, the tariffs were not a surprise. Number one, he's been talking about them all his life, but he's certainly been talking about them since last year. So the tariffs are not a surprise. He's been president for 3 months. That's wrong. January 20th, February 20th, March 20th. Well, he's in his 3rd month. And it's all he's talked about. So it's not a surprise. You're just being fooled. What's probably going on with the markets And I've explained this, but you don't want to hear it. You want to be caught up in the hatred of Trump and I get caught up in my disgust for Hillary Clinton's corruption. And that's a great place to be, but it's useless. It's useless. All that's happening on Wall Street is the end of a bull market. And these lemmings that manage your money had to stay in NVIDIA till the end of the year. Why? Because they need to show Mrs. Yatatomi that our performance is in the top quartile, top quintile against all other managers. So stay with us next year. They have to be able to go to their boss, Molly Malone. Hey, Molly, I deserve a year-end bonus because I'm in performance against all the other funds. I finished out in the top 20%. That's what was going on last year. But it's clear, Dennis, it is clear, if you have any interest in watching it, it's clear that Donald Trump's agenda is to bring manufacturing back to the United States. And it also looks like we might go to war. So what does that mean, Dennis? It means that, to me, that we're going to go from moving paper around in the financial markets to building things. What does that mean? That means we need iron, we need lead, we need lithium, we need aluminum, we need oil, we need, and then on the other end of the scale, we need silver and platinum and palladium and then gold. The world, whether you can just stick in your democratic view that Biden and the Clintons were and Obamas were somehow looking out for you. They weren't. I don't know if Trump's correct, but at least he's trying to look out for Americans, I believe. But that's not the issue. Wall Street is getting out of the NVIDIA trade. Now, I don't think that means that NVIDIA couldn't shoot up again one more time. But the NVIDIA MAGA 7 trade is nearing its end. It may have one more fulsome bloom. And then it's all over. And you're going to rotate out of those manipulated stocks at 70 and 100 times earnings. And you're going to come over into the real economy. And what does the real economy need? Commodities. And that's what's going on. What it took, I talked about it. It's not like I'm saying this after the fact. I talked about it all last year, at least from the summertime. That as we came around the corner, these red socked guys and the guys with the pinky on the ring on their outer finger, and the girls with the short skirts and the jobs, and they manage your money, and they stand and they look and they seem impressive, and they bring a glossy, and they have inside of the glossy your portfolio, and they say this is what we recommend, and you're all enamored of it. It's 7 stocks. But they have to get it. They couldn't be the first out of those stocks, because that ran the risk that they'd be courageous and they'd be standing all alone. So, like a bunch of idiots, they're all together till the end of the year. And we, of course, we aid them because we leave our money in those ETFs. We leave it in our 401k on reinvest. All of the funds that own them are on reinvest. So it has its own momentum. But what has happened now? 3 months have gone by in the new year. What is the only thing that Wall Street, I don't know if it's the only thing, but what is one thing they're just hammering? It's in the newspapers, it's in the online, it's in the interviews, it's everywhere. Gold, commodities. It's not so much oil and gas yet. It'll come. And silver's starting to come. I'm starting to see people talking about silver 5,000 up. It scares me because I don't have my position in it. All they're doing is the pros, which you're not. The pros are taking their money out of the NVIDIAs and they're building up their file so they can cover their ass when they turn the 25,000 Merrill Lynch brokers on to gold and silver. And they should be real estate agents or insurance agents. So how do they do it? They do it with headlines. Trump crashed the market. That was coming. But I think it's an opportunity, Dennis, for you to buy the market. I think it's an opportunity for you to trade the market upward. Risky trade, but probably the most profitable in time to be in the stock market is the next 2 months to, I don't know, it could go on for 9 months. But I think it'll be brief. It'll be short. If I'm right. I think that's what's coming. The markets climb a wall of worry. But if you're a guy that watches the headlines, the markets are down $1 trillion, $2 trillion. You know how big the market is? I don't know, actually. I didn't look before I signed on. But it's anywhere from 70 trillion to 100 trillion. I forget the exact number. So down $1 trillion. Wow, we're down $1 trillion. $1 trillion is probably the amount of money we've given to Ukraine without admitting it. $1 trillion is the amount of money that the Democrats printed out of thin air last year to bail out, help out all their people. $1 trillion's not that much. But anyway. All right, Northwest Bio, 19 and a half cents. What I think is going to happen with Northwest Bio, and I could be wrong, of course, but I think once they get approval, I think someone will buy the company. Like I don't know who, but let's say it's Johnson and Johnson, and then Glaxo wants to come in and buy them too, and you have a bidding war, and they bid between them. The top bid comes in at $80 a share or $65 a share. Then you could have a squeeze. That's what I think will happen with Northwest Bio. But of all these stocks right now, the one that looks like we might have a experience that resembles a short squeeze. I mean, G-Bucks is already up 10x. But what if it breaks out here? Maybe we get a 100x move from the 73 cents, but maybe we get 10 or 20% from 20x from here on G-Bucks. That's where I see the chance anyway of the next move. Nixie, NIXX. Nixie looks pounceable, as one of my college roommates used to always say. It's only $1.61. The market cap is 30 million, 31 million. Nixie looks like an attractive risk reward. The one thing about G-Bucks is the market cap already is uh, 662 million. So it's already 2/3 of a billion. Um, and then Finger is down today. It's 135, but it's struggling around that 140 level. We'll see if they can hold. There is the announcement today of the China uh, tariffs in retaliation, so that could be part of it. Just to punish myself, Logic has no bid, no ask, and I think it's just a brilliant job by Brent Sun to hand that over to MedLab and then focus on Nixie. Logic is literally 0 by 0. Congratulations. I apologize to each of you for listening to the gentleman from the American Stock Exchange, for believing that Brent Sun had learned his lessons. I think he's a good man. I think he works hard, but he always sells to the criminals. He always makes a deal with the devil at the end of the day. At least he did it 4 times in a row. Logic will do a reverse split on the Jeremy Frommer scale. It's a tragedy, and it didn't have to be that way. It didn't have to be that way. I think somebody should take over Brent Sun's companies before he signs any kind of contract like this, because his judgment is piss poor. Hey, Catherine, you look like better probably, but you look like Catherine Fitz. Is that her name? She's got a hyphenated name, Catherine something. Let me see if I can find it. She's very smart analyst. Catherine. Something. Catherine Austin Fitz. That's it. Catherine Austin Fitz. You look better than she does. Don't get me wrong, but she's pretty interesting to a person to listen to. I'd forget her background, but I have a friend who said to me, and I really respect her, love her, but she said to me, do you realize how difficult it is to always listen to men? Men are giving financial advice. Men are telling, and of course I reacted like, well, I reacted like a guy would. But then I started thinking about it. And anyway, an analyst out there who happens to be a woman is Catherine Austin Fitz, and I highly recommend listening to her. Anyway, when your picture came up, you looked a bit like her. Ryan Cohen adds to his GameStop. Say, who the hell cares? 500,000 shares. He's being paid more than that. He's making more of that probably through the back door or in some other relation. So 500,000 shares is 1%, 1.3% of his holdings. He's just doing it to sucker you in. They want the stock up. There's a $20 Ryan Cohen premium in GameStop stock. He wants to steal all of that. Do you remember yesterday or the other day or last week when I read to you from the Toad about the Anson funds? They take the elevator up and they take the stairs down. That's what they want. You've got to have something to steal if you're going to steal. And they want your money. They bring on that roaring kitty. It goes to 85. They steal that money. Then it goes to 65. They steal that money. Then it goes to 40 something. They steal that money. Then it goes to 38. They steal that money. Then it goes to 33. I'm talking about pulling back and going back up like a bouncing ball. They run it down from 80 all the way back down to 20, 25, and then they run it up and up and up and up. And now it's in the 20s. They're getting you to say that, and then that you're going to put money in. You're going to hope it's going to squeeze. He'll do another $1 billion deal. He wants to take that entire $20 premium into his own coffers. He could care less about you. His last name is Cohen. It's not whatever your last name is. His friends control Wall Street, not all of Wall Street. Oh, that you're anti-Semitic. No, I'm not anti-Semitic. There's a handful of guys doing this. He's one of them. Oh, you're being you sound like Hitler. No, I don't. If they were all Irish, I'd be telling you that. They're not all Irish. The Irish couldn't get together that way. That's what the Catholic faith does to you. It screws you up. You can't go along. You're always thinking about what's the right thing. You got to go in. And then there's the booze. The Irish, they couldn't do it. The Italians, maybe. The Italians could do it. Italians have done it in other fields. G-Bucks 809. 809. All right. 1033. I probably have to stop at 11 o'clock. G-Bucks is running. So who said 809? Mike Mitchell Wong? Yeah, John, they're just criminals. It's just, I think it's 20 guys, 30 guys, 50 guys. I'm not condemning a whole segment of a population, but are you going to allow being politically correct to put the wool over your eyes? Cohen's in on it. Whatever his first name is, he's in on it with the criminals. Ken Griffin and the other Cohen, Stevie Cohen, bailed out Mervyn Capital or Marvelous Capital or whatever it was in GameStop, and they've been hammering it ever since. They're turning that into a profitable trade. Why? Because we're the suckers. We're the suckers. I'm including myself, by the way. G-Bucks is starting. I keep trying to, thank you, son of what, Mitchell, I keep trying to hit you. G-Bucks is now 867. It's up $1.67. So I'm going to enter a trade for the day to sell my G-Bucks 325 shares limit. What price will I put in? Because I'm going to be at a funeral. So should I dream big or hit it mid-range? Let's see what the double nickel does. What becomes of the little boys who never comb their hair? They're on the nickel over there. What become of the little boys? All right, I put it in for 55. Another Fibonacci number, but in between Ham's number of 40 and 60. Oh, 77's a good number. 77's a good number. I like that one. I like that one. I can always change it. There'll be, yeah, $20 is just below the Fibonacci number of 21. No buy button on ZJYL. Wonder. Those are the clues, Lisa. Maybe it's gonna go. Maybe it's gonna go. Go big or go home. Yeah, that's true. Are there any updates on the mining company? Sure. Gold is 3,100. The estimated cost of recovery at this private company is somewhere in the $300 to $400 an ounce. Let's call it $600. The average mine out there, the cost is much closer to 1,000. Let's call it 600. So that's a profit of 2,500 per ounce. The estimated current third-party estimated recovery based on the process, just to cut to the chase, the process that's been proven in small tests, hundreds of small tests, they need to get the pilot plant built, is basically 35 million ounces times 2,500. That's 8.75 divided by, let's say right now the outstanding shares are around 450 million, but let's say let's use 500 million shares. Just, I don't know if that's going to be the right number. So just based on the stock, the previous proved up reserves, proved is a strong word, but the third party resource, a resource might be a better answer. And assuming recovery at I think I've done this correctly. Let me start again because now I'm confused with what I did. So if we take 2,500 times 35 million ounces, you get 87 billion. We'll divide it. Let's say there's a billion shares. That's double what there is. A billion shares outstanding. That's $87 a share. You paid 4 cents. Now, it's possible that once we get this done, that there'll be 200 I'm just going to give you the high side. 200 million ounces times 2,500 divided by 1 billion, which is double any number. That's $500 a share, Stan. Now, if you want to discount that, let's just take a third of that number. That's $166 a share. Let's take a third of that. That's $55 a share, double nickel. So you paid 4 cents. This very broad stroke calculation, which I discounted twice at least, maybe 3 times. I certainly discounted it by expanding the number of shares. Of course, I went to the maximum ounces that are estimated to be there. $55 a share, you paid 4 cents. There has been a delay in the money, and the company has moved forward. There's constant pressure. It's my fault. It's not the company's fault. I haven't been able to get the money in, and it's nobody's fault. It's waiting in line at the DMV. That's all it is. It's waiting on I don't know how to put it, but it's waiting on people who have the motivation of working a 9-to-5 job to release the funds. And it hasn't happened yet, but I think we're getting close. Everybody asks, and unfortunately, that means I try to answer, but it really is still a quiet period in that sense. And there's just really nothing to be said. There's nothing, what's the word? There's nothing nefarious about it. It's just waiting on a chick or a guy to stamp the passport and let the customer through customs, Welcome to the United States. Enjoy your visit. But I don't know what else to tell you. Good morning. Spirit of Lucky. Yeah, he's the best boy. The best boy. I try to say hi to other people's dogs. They don't always appreciate it. But when they do, I think of Lucky. I don't think Atkins is the right guy to be. That's my opinion. But could there be an next bridge resolution? Sure. The one good thing is that because of the hard work of everybody, spearheaded by Busy Brands and Junk Savvy, and then with the courage and the action of Queen of all trades, Anna, and so many more, 100%, Patrick, the JRs, the Nixons, just so many people. What's happened, which I've learned the hard way, is you have to build a record. And over the last 2 or 3 years, a lot has been put into the record. evidence, documents, letters, emails, phone calls. And that preponderance of evidence, so to speak, really could cause a settlement in a new SEC. It could. But I don't, I'm not as optimistic as I think we have to be honest with ourselves. The criminals caused what's 800 days, 900 days, 3 years, almost 3 years, I guess, 2.5 years of destruction to the story at Oro Grande. They threatened the health and the lives of the people at University Lands. They even threatened people at Nextbridge. These are criminals. They are trapped. They're scumbags. But the problem is, what is the harm? When Atkins looks at the file, if you believe he's honest, I don't. I think he's part of the corruption. If he looks at the file, he's going to say, what were people harmed? What's Nextbridge worth? Well, it's not worth very much right now, sir. They're in bankruptcy, or they could be headed. All right. What was the crime? Well, there was a short squeeze potential, and some of the shares look like they traded at 2,400, even 24,000. Yeah, but why didn't they trade? Well, because FINRA used this rule, out of my ass rule from 19 whenever, by Jessica Hopper, and they stopped trading. Well, why did they do that? Well, there's a lot of brokerage firms. There's 105 brokers that are in this stock, and a bunch of them called into FINRA, and they said, if you go forward with this, we're going out of business. We don't have enough time to get these shares. Well, that sounds reasonable. Well, then, so what's the cost? Well, we probably owe these people a short squeeze. Well, do we? Ultimately, FINRA used this rule that said that they didn't think these things could settle up, and it's a threat to the market. They did their job. So what's another alternative than the short squeeze? Well, sir, we could give back the money they put in. Well, why would we do that? They bought the stock. It went down. What did it close? Well, it closed at 3, sir. Well, why don't we give them 3? And then the other side, well, sir, all they get is Nextbridge, and Nextbridge is worthless. It's obvious it's worth. So I don't know. I'm not a big believer that there's going to be a settlement out of the SEC. Where I think the best hope for a settlement comes from is that guys like Wes Christian, guys like Anna's attorney, can prove in court the corruption. And if FINRA is caught out for corruption, if FINRA is caught out for violating securities laws, oh my gosh, then the settlement could make Wes Christian a multi-billionaire. And make no mistake about it, Wes Christian wants to be the Peter Angelos of this. So it's good for us. He wants to become a multi-billionaire. I think his heart's in the right place. But that's how I think we get a big payday. In the meantime, if we move to Nextbridge, we can give Greg McCabe the tools to build a valuable Nextbridge. And I think the next move in oil and gas as an industry is going to last for 2 decades, 3 decades. and you'll get rich owning Nextbridge, regardless of a settlement. That's my opinion. G-Bucks is trading 27,000 shares, $8, $8.20. The high on the day, 877. Very orderly, very orderly. Dow down another, shoot. Dow. Okay, well, let's read this. The Senate Banking Committee has advanced. Yeah, the Dow's down 1,600 now. So that gentleman who said the Christians were calling for a crash, lion of all trades. They're correct so far. And so we're down 4% today. I don't know what the total decline in the Dow is from the beginning of the year. Let me Google it. YTD Dow. As of April 25, the Dow Jones Industrial for the year to year date. That's not what I want. 12-month return is 5%, 52-month range. I just want to know how much it's down this year. It won't tell me. It won't tell me. Year-to-date return. It says it's down 4.7%. I don't believe that. That's what it says. Year-to-date return for the Dow is down 4.7%. That's not a crash, guys. That's a correction. My own view of tariffs, it might be wrong, but my own view of tariffs is as long as they're predictable, it's a value-added tax, and it's a one-off. The Democrats used to say that the Biden inflation would be transitory when the market adjusted to it. It's just temporary, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of how the tariffs are. And then the textbooks and the media will say Smoot-Hawley. I don't think Smoot-Hawley per se caused the depression. It might have been a symptom, but I think it was the collapse in the credit markets, which we run the risk of having, by the way. We run that risk. And I think before they let that happen, they will take the Fed's balance sheet. As long as the rest of the world believes in the US dollar, they'll take the Fed's balance sheet to 100 trillion to prevent the collapse of the credit markets. But make no mistake about it. We are in the largest credit bubble in the history of mankind. We're in the largest financialization of an economy in the history of mankind. It's benefiting a handful of guys in one country. And it's going to come down. Now, they're going to move their assets offshore if they haven't already. They're going to move their assets. They're going to be fine. But the rest of us have to learn to behave like our own central banks. And the biggest thing you can do right now is buy physical silver. That's the biggest thing you can do. All right, I've got about 5 minutes to go. I'll try to answer questions. G-Bucks is up $1. G-Bucks is 804. And remember, that's Ham's idea. That is Ham's idea. Something he brought to you under 80 cents. Finger motion is down 3 cents at 134. Nixie is down a penny. 11 cents at 159. Northwest Bio is down. Logic is 0 to 0. Thank you, Brent. I only get mad at Brent for doing the deal with not recognizing that this med lab is a piece of crap. Brent isn't the one that hired Aubrey Advisors. Aubrey Advisors was hired by someone else. Aubrey Advisors is the gateway for thieves at Polar and Shadron. And it's just I don't know how to change this. I really don't know how to change this. I guess I'll pray about it. I don't know why this takes so long. The Marshall-Lerner condition states the currency devaluation benefits the trade balance only if demand for goods, service, responsive. It's all crap. It's all crap. What's going on right now, I studied economics. Trust me, it's all crap. What's going on right now is the Western domination of the worldwide financial and banking system is being challenged by the East and by Russia and by gold. And our precious metals, our bond markets, and our stock markets, in the case of our stock markets, it expands. But in the case of our bullion markets, there's 24 men that price gold and price silver by selling counterfeit ounces. They're criminals. Jamie Dimon now controls GLD and I think SLV. Why? Because JP Morgan is the bank most exposed to the short positions in silver. They control everything. And what's happening is all this other stuff is for us to consume. We feel smart. We read it in the New York Times. We heard it on CNN. We checked this. We got an A in we read it in we read it in our econ textbooks. It's all Keynesian. It's all the British Empire, the Dutch, the Italians, the Dutch, the Brits. Spain was in there for a little while. Portugal was in there a little while. And then the United States. But what China's trying to do, what Russia's trying to do, is having honest markets. That's what's going on. You know, the battle of communism against capitalism, I hate to say it, but part of the arguments caught out the fraud of the banks. I'm a capitalist, so don't get me wrong. All right, I'll sign off so that Ham's call goes on. Go to Ham's call at 11. All right, I'm going to sign off. I don't want to miss any questions. Hi, Colby. Hey, John. Put in $20. All right, Ham's going to be on at 11, so I'm going to sign off. Go to Ham's call. Peace, brothers and sisters, and pray for peace. And we'll get through this together, and things are going to get better. We're going to be able to trade some stops. Go listen to Ham. Cheers.